I would like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, Councillor Manzer.
Yep.
Councillor Scheer.
Yep.
Councillor Ross.
Here.
Deputy Warden Ross.
Here.
Executive Assistant Taylor. CAO Tyler.
Here.
Your new title.
Director of Finance.
Director of Finance, Corley. I was thinking Deputy CAO. No, it's not that. It's something. Never go away on vacation because time gets.
Never again.
Oh no! Until the next, actually, in August, I'm going to go. St. Pierre de Miquelon. Now, I'm saying that. That's only an hour's difference of time, or a half hour. I'd like us pause to seek guidance. And did you read the mission statement last time? So it's finally okay. So I'd like us to pause to seek guidance, please. And now the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. And next time will be you, Peter.
Right. Something to look forward to.
Well, I'd like to heads up. Now, is there any additions or deletions for the agenda?
Yep, so there's 2 additions, 4.4, the DALA grant application, and 6.2, personnel.
6.2?
Yep.
Personnel again. At this point, I am going to be declaring a conflict of interest as 4.4 DALA, so I will be asking you to take charge of the meeting.
Okay, sure.
Okay. As I leave the room. Next, could I have approval with the additions to the agenda, please?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next are the minutes of April the 22nd, 2025. Did anyone find any errors or omissions?
Motion to approve the minutes of April 22nd, 2025.
Second.
Is there a, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is we have a delegation or a presentation from Peter James, Share the Wind. So I would like to have someone move for Peter to come forward, please.
I'll move that Peter come forward to do the presentation.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Please come forward, and if your mic isn't on, turn your mic on, please.
I'm pretty loud anyway.
But it helps with the you're being recorded.
Okay. How's that? Do you hear me okay?
Perfect.
All right, so I've just put a short presentation together on Share the Wind. I think some people know Share the Wind, what it's done over the years since 2011. So this presentation is just going to be very briefly just explain that. So I'm the organizer for Share the Wind for 2025. And you see from the logo that we show, it shows we're based in Digby. It shows what we do. We do sidecar rides. We have strong links with the Wharf Rat rallies. So you can see the Wharf Rat rally rats in the sidecar and on the bike and their logo. And wherever we go, these items are being promoted. So this logo is on all of our shirts. It's on the flags that go on the bike and everything else. If you've seen them going up and down the streets, certainly during the rally. So we provide a moment of joy to many people who never get the experience or the thrill of a motorcycle ride. That's fundamentally all we do. It's been running since 2011, based out of Digby. And we have 2 bikes and sidecars. The photo on the left is a lady we did a ride for last year, a 104-year-old from Bridgetown. So I think that's our record at the moment. And she had as you can see, she dressed for the occasion, and she had a really great time. Next slide. So the impact we have. So we like to think about what we do. Sometimes we think it's very small and very trivial, and other times it's actually very, very meaningful. So we try to quantify it here. So it's to fill people's lifelong dreams. So to bring a little thrill into someone's life, it brings back the sounds, sights, and smells for those that are less present than ourselves. When you see the places that we go, you will understand some of these statements. To make this experience possible to those that are also physically restricted, and to provide something that we would like if we were ever in the same situation. So that kind of qualifies it for the people that take part in it. We're very safety conscious with our precious cargo, and the home care teams are absolutely superb. So you can see it's not always a 5-minute job getting somebody and putting them into these sidecars for the ride, even though we have special low access sidecars to enable people that can lift their feet 6 inches that can actually get in. Unfortunately, some of the people that go in there, they can't do that. So we do sometimes have to have quite the crane set up with the care homes
It's called a lift.
to make sure we can do it. So this was just some thumbs up and smiles from our riders. So recently, so this was a couple of our riders, and some of these are Conway Workshop. You keep going. Some of these are Bridgetown. That's another one from Conway. This is the one at the hospital with the Tideview Terrace as well. This is the one for the Cav Walk with the veterans. This is the one with my dog. So who are Share the Wind team? So it's run by volunteers. In 2024, we provided this thrill over 250 times. In 2025, we'd like to exceed this number, and we'd like to recruit 2 more volunteer riders. Some of the people, you can see Guy Leblanc on the left there. He's an original rider. So from the very first, 2011, he's been supporting this initiative, and he's been riding. Myself, I'm a youngster. I've only been with it for about 7 years, so relatively young. The guy on the right has been on and off for a couple of years, and the guy next to him, sort of mid-center right, he was the first time he did it last year. He was so impressed, he's coming back this year as well. Where did we go? So for 2024, being based out of Digby, you can see we've gone up and down, almost all the way to Yarmouth and up past Bridgetown. The Cav ride obviously goes all the way down to Yarmouth. Next slide. So these are the actual places. So Bridgetown, Mountain and Meadows, Clare, Maison Jerome, the second Cav, Darren Williams, Afghanistan Memorial Ride, Digby Conway Workshop. We normally do that one 2 or 3 times. General Hospital and Tideview Terrace. Sometimes those are separate, sometimes we combine them. We also do rides at the parades, and we show the bikes at the Cherry Carnival, Lobster Bash, and Scalpers. In Digby, during the Warfare Rally, we also do family rides, and we also have done Kingston, Tibbets, long-term care, and other single requests. We're open if somebody says, I'd like to take my grandmother or wherever, that's fine, we will organize it, we'll come around. As long as you don't live too far away, we're happy to do that. For 2025, we'd like to do everything we did last year plus. So we've done the Halifax Exposition. That was 3 days. We did that to really start to get the name out there of the initiative. And we did have a long-term care facility in Halifax, Clayton Park, that we haven't scheduled yet, but we'd like to try to do that this year as well. There was a Truro home yet to be defined in Truro that we would like to do, and then we would like to expand other requests as we are available. Okay, next slide. So next steps. So I have a couple of things. I'm not too sure who the grant goes to. Grant application.
It goes to Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah, sorry.
Ayla. Okay, so that's the grant application.
Oh, you want?
Ayla.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much. And I do have a little bribe, so there it is, a sticker. Everybody gets a little leaflet.
Everybody gets bribe.
Things and a little sticker.
Thank you.
And if you're around when we are doing the rides, by all means, see us. I know Linda's already seen us a few times.
I wonder why. Even though I never get offered.
Don't you? All right.
No.
We wouldn't have to make a point of doing that.
No, you'd have Jill if she waves.
Oh. Okay. Okay, so the grant application is in, so that's one of the things we needed to do this year. We have to dust off and shine up the bikes. That's an ongoing thing. One of them has to go down to Windsor to have a little bit of TLC. We need to engage the Share the Wind team. It's not as easy as it sounds. Turn up and do rides. We got to coordinate with a lot of different people and make sure that they can handle the bike as well. It's not like riding a bike. I'll say that now. Riding the bike with a sidecar, it's like wrestling an alligator. It's not the same thing. So we need to just organize, plan, and execute that for this year. So that's what we're doing. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions?
I want to make a couple of comments and then I'll let you go, George.
Go over questions.
Okay, well, your question. I just want to make, I can tell you at the hospital, it's one of the things that the rehab, restorative care and the patients, they love.
Yeah,
They love it
absolutely.
because I had a lady tell me that she was up in her 80s, always wanted to get on a motorcycle. And she said, that just wasn't a thing in her time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't looked on. It was the thrill of her lifetime.
Yeah, but it's surprising such a small thing can bring so much joy. It sounds like a cliche, but
It's so I did want to say seriously, I know how much they look forward to it. I know Charlotte works really hard to make sure it happens. And I want to say thank you. Now, George, if you got your question.
Yeah, the bikes and sidecars, those are owned by individuals or by the group?
No, the bikes are owned by the Wharf Rat Rally, and the sidecars are owned by the Wharf Rat Rally. Yeah. So I run the initiative using those.
So they just get just put on, just stacked away for the rest of the year? Nobody uses them?
Well, yes and no. I use them. They're stored on my property.
Yeah.
When you look at the grant application, that's one of the in-kind things that I provide. But in 2011, this was when it actually started. And it started simply by a lot of bikers driving past the hospital, making a lot of noise, etc. And then over the years, it evolved into what it is now. Yeah. So this is why the bikes were actually purchased by the Wharf Rat Rally. And there's a lot of stories over that as well. Particularly over one of the bikes, it was a big problem because it was an American bike and it wasn't registered in Nova Scotia, etc. It's an independent thing, but it is as a consequence of having the Wharf Rat Rally here, you now have the Share the Wind initiative here too. And it's been going every year since 2011. During COVID, we shut down in some respects, but we still drove around and made a lot of noise at various places and got a lot of bikers to drive around just to wave at people in the homes that we could visit during those periods because we couldn't do rides. But over the last few years, we're starting to see that increase now, and we're seeing more people are keen to engage with it. So we're trying to really promote it as the initiative that it is, and starting to get some traction this year, and hopefully we will end up purchasing the bikes from the Wharf Rat Rally.
One other thing, one of those slides up there heads up about 3 times to Halifax for their expo over there.
Yeah, 3 days we went down to Halifax Expo.
You don't take the seniors all the way to Halifax.
No. The seniors, it's actually, we need to train the people who ride the motorbikes and the sidecars because of some of the people that you have within the sidecars. Some individuals, we literally will only take them 100 yards or even less. Other individuals, we'll do a couple of loops around the car park. For the ones at Digby Hospital last year, we did something a little bit different because they all seem to be okay and enjoy it, which you also have to monitor as you're driving along. But we actually started behind the hospital and we came all the way down through the main drag during the Wharf Rat Rally so they could see all of the bikes right the way up to the station house and went all the way back down. That is probably one of the longer rides that we do. So when we say rides, they're not huge hour-long rides. They're more kind of 5 minutes, 10-minute rides. Yeah.
No, I just was thinking, man, you take the senior all the way to Halifax sidecar.
Well, it's only just broke, so we hold it on a trailer at the moment, and that would be something in the years ahead we'd look to try to get as well. So there's a lot of work to be done with it, and I'm hopeful that I can start to do a lot of the groundwork. I've been part of it for a few years, but it still needs a lot of time.
Thank you.
Anyone? Peter?
So just to be clear, the Share the Wind, although it started at the Wharf Rat Rally, it's not part of it, right? It's a spin-off. and it's its
a
own
spin-off,
thing.
yeah. So it's run. So yes and no. In the early days, obviously the purchase of the bikes and everything was the Warframe Rally, but they loaned those out basically to the Share the Wind. The Share the Wind would like to eventually become a charity. Time is all it takes. Time and effort. And our biggest goal this year, as you can see, one of our big goals is try to get a couple more riders, because that's the critical thing for us, having the ability to pull people in to match the dates that people want the rides. So that can be a bit challenging. Like I work for a living, I don't know if you're aware. Now again, and so yeah, it's always a little bit of a challenge, and especially if there's bad weather or there's 101 things that come up. But yeah.
Anyone else? Go ahead, please.
So, is the plan, I guess this year, to get the bikes through Warfrat as well, or are you planning to get your own?
Basically, I have the bikes full time, 100% of the time. So I look after the bikes, I take care of the bikes, I get the insurance, the safety checks, the repairs. One of the bikes, the Valkyrie, will be going down to Windsor to one of our volunteers because he's used those bikes, and so he'll spend a couple of weeks just looking after the bike, getting it ready, sorting out any little things, because otherwise we have to pay. And he's very good with that particular machine. The Harley is a bit different, so that normally goes in the shop just up the road here.
Oliver's, Wilson.
Oh my gosh,
Tony Chu.
Ryan.
there's a garage along here that does motorbikes. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, I don't know if Randy Wilson
Seabrook.
does motor.
Seabrook. Yeah.
Seabrook is Randy Wilson.
Yeah. Is that along here?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I was going crazy for a minute. So we normally take Harley to Seabrook because we don't have an expert with that. So the volunteers do all they can, but there's certain things that we can't necessarily do. But the bikes basically live with me full time.
And so you have access to them all year.
Yeah, I have access to them all year. So when we did the Halifax thing, I got them all down to Halifax, and then we promoted the Share the Wind initiative, and I've got them all full back, and they live in a little container in my front garden. And whenever they're needed, they're available for anybody doing the Share the Wind.
Are most of your riders from this area, or?
One of them is from Windsor. The other one is from Halifax. The other one is from Clare, and I'm from Smithsburg. Currently, I'm hopeful to get 2 more this year.
When you were talking about the sidecar, I asked an old timer who had been in the Korean War, I think it was, he said, and I said, you know, the sidecars must have made it so much easier. He said it actually made them a little bit more tippier.
It can be, yeah.
He said when you're going over they weren't going over good roads.
Yeah, like I say, it's like wrestling an alligator. It's not. And on the Valkyries, as a stabilizer on the front wheel, the Harley doesn't. So if you get it bounce, it fishtails and it hits a harmonic, and it can be really difficult. So you have to stop the bike. So that it's not the same as a motorbike. Motorbike you can lean. If you imagine the big sidecar hanging on the side of your bike, it's almost impossible to just lean. But it'll dive when you go into a corner one way, and it'll lift when you go into a corner the other way. Have you got your motorcycle license? Because I can show you.
Actually, I do. And
There you go.
no, I do not. I want to. Thank you. I've had my motorcycle license since 70-something.
Yeah.
Probably 76, 77.
There you go. Can't remember when I got mine. It was quite a while ago.
It's probably
77.
same year. Must have been a good year.
I was 16. It was a Honda Suzuki 50. You were allowed to get a moped in the UK, which it had pedals, but you never used the pedals. It's a weird thing. You had to pass your test on a moped and then have a 250 before you could get a bigger bike. They have very different rules. Here, you pass your test and you just go on anything.
Yeah.
I could talk about this literally all day, but I didn't want to tie up all your time. But if you do have any other questions,
No? Good.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming in, and giving us your presentation, and this will not be looked at until our committee of the whole or our committee of the whole, which is
June 10th.
June 10th. I had to look down on my paper.
No problem. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any other questions at any of the time, feel free to give me a shout.
I have your
Peter
number.
has my contact details.
So do I. I still haven't got there, but I'm coming sometime.
Yeah, sure. Take the whole council round. We volunteered that a couple of times.
And I know you have.
So anytime you'd like to do a big tour of KDNC plants, just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Now, our next is our CAO report, our meeting reminders. There is no meeting next week on June the 3rd. June the 10th, there's a committee of the whole and bylaw and policy. June the 17th, there's no meeting. June the 24th, there's a council meeting. July 1st is no meeting. July 8th is no meeting. July 15th is the audit committee. 6 p.m. is the bylaw and policy if needed. July 22nd is council. July 29th is no meeting. But I do want to go back to July 1st. Even though there is no meeting, on July 1st, it is also Weymouth Day. And at noon, the municipality does the opening where our flag goes up, and then we share cake with everyone at no charge. There are fireworks. There's many things there. It's nice if it's possible for anyone to get there, especially at noon. But I do understand that people do have other obligations at times. But I'm mentioning that because it actually frees your day sort of free where you don't have to be here.
Always good.
And also,
Always good to get George's.
when is Good Times Day in Cisco? That's around that time.
The first Saturday in July, so whatever that.
Okay, that's between the 1st and 8th. And I'm mentioning that because that is done by the Smiths Cove Fire Department. And again, they also, the library, museum up there will have a strawberry social, I think, around the same time. So when we get the date, I'll ask Joan to give it to Taylor, and we will pass it out to everybody. On this first Saturday in July, the Smiths Cove Fire Department hold a breakfast. They hold activities.
Then the church next door will have a big yard sale, and then
at 1 o'clock they have
12 to 2 or something, there's a strawberry
social
social
at the museum.
at the museum.
So what I'm just letting people know that it's there. I know we all have busy schedules, but I thought this was a good time to mention, especially where July 1st fell on our day. And I thought, well, I better mention that. And we all know that Lobster Bash is that weekend of the 8th. That weekend anyway. All right, on saying that, our next is action items from previous minutes. Does anyone have any questions or concerns they want to bring forward? Right, hearing none. The updates on our capital projects was all there. Do you have any questions for Tyler?
This will be one of the last times you see 24, 25. I'll likely make the switch probably at the next meeting to our new capital budget.
Okay. And then our financial report is awaiting budget approval, so you don't have any. So our standing committees, bylaw and policy recommendations, the Digby and Healthcare Charitable Foundation letter. That we're asking if we would like to move that council approve the Digby area Health Services Charitable Foundation Community Navigator funding request in the amount of $35,666.67 for the 25-26 fiscal year. Is there someone who would move
I'll make
that?
the motion to move that council approve the Digby Area Health Services Charitable Foundation Community Navigator funding request in the amount of $35,666.67 for the 2025-26 fiscal year.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is our strategic plan, and we're asking for approval for the 2025 strategic plan.
I move that council approve the 2025 strategic plan.
Is there a seconder? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Recommendations from Committee of the Whole. The T-Box sponsorship at the 10th Annual Richard Ellis Memorial Golf Tournament in the amount of $200.
We'll move that council approve the T-Box sponsorship at the 10th Annual Richard Ellis Memorial Golf Tournament in the amount of $200.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Now, next, under business items, is our operating budget.
All right. I hope you all like our front page here.
Yeah.
Handsome new group. I thought I'd
People.
show off. So what we're gonna do, so I did send, the last time we met, I went over anything that was unusual or different than we would normally do, or things that maybe you guys had approved in previous meetings. On your desk, you'll see that there's a sheet here, and this is basically outlining everything that would have changed since you last seen the draft, just to make it a little bit easier. So here we have keeping the rates the same, of course, the additions to the revenue. So I received confirmation from the town about the Annapolis County sewer. So we saved $1,156 from my original estimate. We also have an MOU with the Municipality of Clare now. I don't know if you want to briefly tell them this is an addition that would have happened after we
So
started the budget.
essentially, I think as you guys are aware, recently the Municipality of Clare helped us out in our building department. We lost one of our building inspectors, our level 2. We used them for a couple of years. So essentially we're returning the favor. So their level 2 wastewater operator retires this month, and they have a level 2 plant that they require somebody with a license number to manage. We have Barry Faulkner, who's a level 2 operator. So we've signed an MOU with Claire at an hourly rate and a rate per mileage for Barry to go down essentially once a week and then manage that plant for them until they can train one of their current employees to become a level 2. So it could be a year, it could be 2 years, but we're playing by ear, so see how long it takes.
Yep. So that made an additional revenue amount of $4,800, and then we have a mileage recovery of $1,200. So we had an additional $4,800 worth of revenue since the last time we met. Our expense ones, again, there's actually not. It looks like a big list, but they haven't changed by a lot. Our fire protection for the dry hydrant, or for the town of Digby hydrants, we actually had to spend an extra $8,245. They actually did a little project this year where they went out and GPSed all the hydrants. They've never done this before, so there was a little bit identified there that we hadn't paid for, and then the rate has changed as well. The Public Works travel and training, we have the $1,200 increase there. That's basically just to match the revenue that we have above. I had to increase that a bit. Our sidewalk maintenance, I had got some more detailed numbers from the town, which meant that we would be spending a little bit less than what we had originally anticipated. So that's a savings of $1,500. Our King's Transit Administration, we did finally get our number for the deficit for last year, and the deficit number was $2,852 less than what they had originally told us it would be. So we have a savings there. Our Digby collection system, I got my number in from the town of Digby. I was waiting for that one, and the next one down, the town of Digby lift station cost share. So with that one, we actually had to spend $7,300 more for the collection system and $1,100 less on the cost share. Our Weymouth sewer treatment maintenance, we changed that by $2,000. One of our employees had requested, they had an opportunity to clear some land at the Weymouth sewer treatment plant, so we added that in the budget. We have our Smith's Cove sewer treatment operating costs. So I finally got the town bill for that one as well. It all kind of came in at once. For that one, we had to pay an additional, we saved 4,400. Our public drop-off expenses, we were waiting for a few things. Again, when we did get it in, we got our bill off to the town, and it kind of gave us a better idea of what we would have spent last year. So I reduced our budget by 2,000 there. Our municipal marketing, I changed by 2,500. We're looking at doing a clothing order, just some promotional things. So we wanted to increase that there just to cover a bit of that. Our physician initiatives. So this one would have been something you guys seen at our last council meeting. Our portion of the navigator has increased by 8,000, so I updated that. Our weather monitoring stations. We have a couple projects for Sandy Cove and Freeport. Those 2 stations need some upgrades, so that's going to cost 3,000. I increased that. Our municipal trail maintenance, I found out there's going to be one more trail added to that this year, so we needed an extra 1,000 there. And then, of course, because we had to increase these expenses, I did have to change our transfer to capital reserve, so I changed that by 23,883. So basically, increase in revenues by 4,800, increase in expenses by 2,800 overall. So here, I'll just get into, I'm not going to go line by line and go like we did in the last meeting, but I will go through this piece here. The first page basically explains that our budget has been prepared, and we do consider the vision of the municipality and our council's strategic priorities. And here is just for your information. It is in your package. I did kind of put together a package for you just to have as a reference for the year. This is your strategic priority chart. I know that's subject to change, but this is how it looks at this moment. This page here is basically showing you that this is our statement of estimates and that we have prepared it based on the same rate as last year, $1.30 for residential and $1.85 for commercial. We're seeing approximately 3% increase in our revenues and expenses from last year's estimates. Our tax revenue alone, this piece here just shows you what our residential, resource, and commercial have increased or decreased. So we've had 4.41 overall. It has been tapering off a bit since the market boom that we had been experienced probably for the last 3 to 4 years. And just to know, we haven't had any tax increase in the past 19 years. So you'll see here that we do have an increase in residential, we have an increase in resource, but our commercial did go down. We did go over that at our last meeting. Just as a note, just to kind of put it in perspective, our total tax revenue at 4.41 here. Last year it was 12.2. So we're seeing quite a reduction there. This is just basically our budget highlights. It shows us areas in the budget that fit into our strategic plan and where some of our projects fit. I won't go over that. I'm sure you guys have had a chance to review that. This page is our budget overview. So this page and the next page will show you charts in detail of our revenues and expenses, and then the funding sources to fund the operating budget. So these are all the categories that you're going to see me break down later in the package and what the percentages are. There's the revenues there. This page is our mandatory expenses. I think this is the one that the ladies at the front counter use most often when trying to explain things to the customers. Just noting that 34% of our overall expenditures are expenses that we cannot control. They're mandatory. And that's the breakdown here. I will note this RCMP. This is an estimate based on a 5% increase from last year. We have not got the final number this year for that. So hopefully we're close with that one. This chart here is another one that the girls actually use at the front counter quite frequently. It does give a good understanding if you were to calculate what somebody's tax bill would look like and how it's broke down. And basically it just kind of gives you an estimate of if your assessment was $150,000 based on our current tax rate, we would have approximately $1,950 per household. And then if you wanted to look at the area rate on top of it, that's an additional $75. And looking at that, that will break down exactly the dollars that you would pay out of that $1,950 bill per category. This page here is basically an overview of all the categories that you're going to see throughout the revenues and expenses. I won't go through it right now because you're going to see them broke down one by one in the next few pages. So the first one here is our tax revenue. So this actually includes more than the first page that I had showed you. Our first page literally is just residential, resource, and commercial. This would include some other tax revenues that we have, and you can see them listed here on the side. Just to note those three that I had mentioned earlier, 4.41% increase. The cap rate with the assessment office this year is set for 1.5. Last year was at 3.2. Our sewer rate's the same, 225 if you're connected and 75 for frontage. And then just to note that our D-transfer taxes has leveled out pretty good according to last year, so that's about the same this year. Our proposed budget, you'll see here, it's up $461,000 from our budgeted amount last year. Grant and lieu and taxes, just a slight change. This is actually down $6,371. Our new budget is $163,591. We did see decreases in each of those categories this year. Services provided to other governments. So our proposed budget, $113,396. We're up close to $6,000 from last year, and most of that could be attributed to the new MOU that's been had with the Municipality of Clare for the wastewater treatment. Here you can just see a little breakdown of what is actually included in that section. So sales of service, our proposed budget is $155,282. We're up around $3,000 from last year. We are seeing a little bit of an increase in our dispatch services for the other units on this end of the region. The Clare, Argyll, Yarmouth, and Town of Yarmouth. They had a few more calls last year that just kind of brought that revenue up a little bit more. Revenue from our own sources, we are down. So basically, our new budget is $982,542. So if you look at last year's, we are down around $31,500. This can mainly be attributed to the decrease in the interest on our bank deposits, and we did go over how the rate has been going down for a year, so we did drop that for this year. We do expect to see a little bit more in our marketing levy this year. Unconditional transfers from other governments. Our proposed budget is $1.268107, and if you look from last year, we are down approximately $6,500. Some of these, like our Nova Scotia Power, for example, because the commercial assessments are going down, that grant and lieu has gone down, so it's mostly right in there. Conditional transfers from other governments. We have a proposed budget of $156,300. Last year it was $19,800, and this is basically where our project funding would come in. Anything that's conditional, and these two projects that Terry had proposed, our biogas generator and the solar park engineering study, that's what's driving that budget up this year. Transfers from own funds and reserves. Our budget is $89,951, and last year we had $191,500. So this year we basically, here's the list here. We have $10,000 transfer you guys had previously committed to for the 24-25 community grant commitment. We have $14,951 for lighthouses, including Point Prim, Boar's Head, Bear River, and Peters Island. And then we have a $65,000 transfer from gas tax for dark capital projects. Last year, and I will note that our internet project was included in here, and that's why you see it like it's come down quite significantly. So this moves us into expenditures. As you can see, the total expenditures is $12,844,185. And again, these categories are all broke down on the next pages, so I will go through them on the next pages. Start with general government services. Our proposed budget is $2,374,354. Up from last year, we have an increase of $178,482. I will note we have our low income tax rebate in there that you guys had previously discussed. low end 350, and it goes up to 600 depending on your income, for a high of $33,000, 33,000 per family. And then we have our assessment services. This year it increased by 3%, which is up from 2% last year. Our protective services, we have budgeted $3,589,979. This is up $171,752 from last year. Again, this is an RCMP estimate. This could be subject to change a bit. Increase has also included from 50% for insurance for fire departments up to 60%. And we also have our full-time fire services coordinator for 25-26. So transportation services, our proposed budget is $933,461, and this is up $43,734 from last year. In here, it kind of gives you a breakdown. Most of that increase is actually for the King's Transit. I believe Tyler can probably attest to this, that we're not 100% sure. We feel like this will be our budget, but there is a chance still that they may lower it. That would be great, but we wanted to be conservative and make sure we were planning for the worst case scenario. Environmental health services, our budget is $1,688,727. So we're up $115,364 from last year. And we are seeing, like, obviously you guys know we had got a new garbage contract this year, and we did see a larger increase. So that would kind of sum up that increase mostly right there. Our public health services. So I had mentioned before, we are no longer responsible to pay the deficit for the housing authority. So you'll see our actuals and budget from last year, and then we have a zero for this year. After this year, that will be removed. We have our environmental development services. Our proposed budget is $631,384. So we are up $29,429 from last year. And again, we've got our biogas project and solar park engineering study that would be helping to increase that. Recreation and cultural services. Our proposed budget is $835,512. We are up $77,900. Within this category, we do have a slight increase in dark. We have the lighthouses that I pointed out earlier, a registered heritage grant program. With this one, if you look down through the budget, like line by line, it seems as though almost all of them just increased slightly, which just kind of added up at the end to $77,000. Our education budget is up $210,676 this year, bringing us to a budget of $2,139,259, and we have a 10.9% increase. Last year was 11.4, so we're down a bit from last year. And here's a list of our financing and transfers. We have our principal payment for the turbines, $69,000. We have a $100,000 transfer for our capital reserves, $150,000 for asset management requirements, $100,000 for housing related infrastructure, $95,000. We're putting in a hydro reserve. This is starting to be proactive with our streetlights. We know that they are going to be coming to an end of life in the future, and we want to start a reserve for that. And that was in our asset management plan that was suggested. And then we have $129,509 for strategic planning projects, and we have $8,000 for our trail and open space reserve. There is one more payment in May next year for the wind turbines, and that will be done. And you'll see that here in our debt repayment schedule. May 2026 is the last $69,000. So that is all I was planning to go through. This piece here, you guys seen at my last presentation. Anything that's changed in here at all is outlined in that one page that I put on your desks. But if you do have any questions or you need any further clarification, you can certainly reach out. George?
It's not necessarily about the budget. When we were going over about the airport and Argyle, Yarmouth, and town of Yarmouth, like we service those. Has there ever been any requests from the other side, like everything seems to be that way, like Annapolis, town of Annapolis.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
We used to have the police department from the town of Annapolis, but the fire department, they have a central dispatcher, I believe, up at that end. And I believe it comes out of Temple, but I don't want to swear to that.
So they're already tied into it.
The province is actually reviewing dispatch right now, setting certain standards, so there could be changes coming to dispatch from the province also.
Any other questions?
If there are no other questions, I want to thank you so much. Because again, there's nothing we have approved yet, and we're not quite finished yet.
Oh, we're done.
It's totally done now?
Yep, so the next
Oh,
step,
well then,
yep, the next step here,
is would we like to approve the operating budget for 2025, 2026?
don't forget
There.
about this.
For a minute, I'm thinking,
Don't forget about this piece.
That has to be read.
oh
Our
yes,
tax
that all has to be read.
But we can do that separately, right?
Do you want me? I'll motion to approve the operating budget of 2025, 2026.
The amount, please. In the amount of,
Oh, in the amount of $12,839,000. Give this right.
12,844,135.
Yeah.
I can't read the numbers well.
I'm looking at something
$12,844,185.
Sorry, yes. I motion to approve the operating budget of $12,844,185 presented.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Well, I'll make a comment. When I'm reading that, I have to stop and think, just like you did. So,
Well, I was reading this page, then you went to that one. I got it.
I see, but I can't really see the numbers. That's my problem. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. I guess now it would be I so move that we continue with the next piece. Not further be it resolved, but I so move.
I so move that the commercial rate pursuant to section 726A of the Municipal Government Act be established at $1.85 per 100 of assessment. A residential and resource rate pursuant to section 726B of the Municipal Government Act to be established at $1.30 per 100 of assessment. And further be it resolved that the following area rates pursuant to section 75.2 excuse me, be established for the provision of fire protection, street lighting, and sidewalk maintenance. Sidewalk maintenance, Conway Sidewalk, 4.5 cents per 100 of assessment. Mount Pleasant, 4.5 cents per 100 of assessment. Street lighting in Weymouth Falls, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Bear River light rate, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Digby Neck, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Barton light rate, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Culloden light rate, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Smith's Cove light rate, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Weymouth North, 4.07 cents per 100 of assessment. Fire protection and Digby Neck Fire is 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Smith's Cove is 6 cents per 100 of assessment. Freeport Fire is 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Tiverton Fire, 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Westport Fire, 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Barton Brighton Fire is 10 cents per 100 of assessment. Plimpton Fire is 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Weymouth Fire, 10 cents per 100 of assessment. Bear River Fire, 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Digby Fire is 5 cents per 100 of assessment. Southville Danvers Fire is 15 cents per 100 of assessment. Further be it resolved, the municipality will bill and collect on behalf of the commissioners for the village of Weymouth, the village of Tiverton, the village of Freeport, and the village of Westport an amount as determined by each commission at duly convened meetings, pursuant to the authority granted by the Municipal Government Act, policy FIN 2500-01, municipal tax collection. The municipal council hereby sets the interest rate on overdue tax at the rate of 15 per annual, and an interest rate of 10% per annual be established for overpayment on taxes due to assessment appeals. You want that last one too?
No. Is there a second?
1 second.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion, any comments, questions?
I would actually have a comment. So when I saw this, especially this part of Municipal Government Act and Policy FIN 2001. So that stipulates the interest rates that we are allowed to charge on late taxes, or is this a decision that we make on our own? So when I look at these numbers, almost credit card type of rates are there pretty high.
We can set those rates.
Mm.
Am I correct in that? Yes. Yeah, and they used to be a lot higher. They have come down. And again, if we're concerned, we can always go back and look at that. I mean, we can approve it tonight, but still go back and make a change.
Yeah, I was just curious if
But
there was any
I do
pushback.
agree with you. The 15% is high.
Yeah. Have we ever received complaints from residents about it? Well, pretty sure we did. Is this
It's I've had a few complaints over the years. It happens when you get behind.
Yeah.
As long as you're keeping your bills paid up, you never, and the majority do. So it's a very small group that has complained to me.
And it's hard because you also want to motivate people to pay their taxes and not let it. So it's,
And it was down at 0, wasn't it 0 for a year, COVID?
Yes, we did.
We did that during COVID, but that's it. If you made it too small,
When it was 0, we did put it
Yeah,
at 0.
no, I think it's important to give people an incentive to pay their taxes, but we cannot be predatory as well, right? So, but I think if people are kind of, it's not, there's not a big pushback. We can go with that and then adjust as we move forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or concerns? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the Claire Bluegrass Association funding request. And they have
For $100.
Yeah.
I would motion that we give the Clare Bluegrass Association $100 for their annual festival.
is there
Oh, second.
any discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Now, the next is Dalla, and I am calling a conflict of interest because I am on that board.
So, did you want to go through that, Tyler? The email, or everybody's had a chance to look at it? Apparently, there was a miscommunication, and they
essentially they had thought they submitted it, but they did not. So they thought they submitted it, I think, back in March. And they had, so that's why it's late. And I felt it was now urgent to get on this meeting because the event's coming up in June. So, but essentially pretty straightforward. I'm not sure whether or not the town Digby approved any money or what amount.
What's your thoughts, Peter?
So, yeah, I don't know. Has anyone ever been to one of those events? That they...
I have not. I think they had one. They've had one the last year or two. It's a good initiative. But to me, $3,000 seems like a lot for an evening. We don't get that out to some of our festivals.
Yeah, and also to people who are doing stuff all year round.
Yeah. No, I would do 1,000.
Yeah, they've already been granted 3,000 through the community
Yeah.
group or whatever, community integration fund. And if they get something in the town, which we don't know if they do or not, so. Yeah, that we gave them 3 and they got 3 already, and the town gave them 1 or 2. That's like almost $8,000-9,000 for one night for
That's a
one.
big festival. For
That's
one
a
day.
big.
It's a lot of money.
I could go along.
I
would do it.
didn't see there that they had applied to the area tourism or any of those, or to marketing and levity.
And 11,000 coming from other partners. And other organizations, 4,100. That's a big.
It says on their town of Digby, but that's only what they've applied for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Looking at this and not thinking a bit more deeply into this, I think whenever we have a grant like this, we have to go back to basics, like same as we discussed last time, right? What are we trying to promote in our municipality? What's our plan, right? What's our vision for the next 4 years that is recorded in our strategic plan? Does that fit in there or not? I think there's maybe a little bit of a fit, but so in my opinion, I would say yeah, something between 500 and 1,000. I would say yeah, okay, we'll help out. But I don't remember us discussing this topic as something that is really crucial to what we're trying to do in these 4 years that we have.
Did they have it at the Legion? Is that where they had it? I'm not sure. See, that's the thing. I don't know enough. I'm pretty sure they had it at the Legion. So I don't understand the $6,500 for center stage entertainment. Like, I guess they pay some arts and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe they're changing their venue.
I don't know. It's an awful lot for local or like. I don't know. For a big ask like this, or something like that, I thought maybe a presentation would be good, but it's time sensitive. But it's up, we can go around the room. And what do you think, Peter? Like, or George, or?
No, like you had said, I could go wrong. I'm certainly not 3 or 4.
Yeah. What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, I tend more to go like at 500.
Jim?
I would be okay, I think, with 1,000. They've got till October to do more funding.
No, it says they're doing it next month.
No, they've postponed it.
Oh, okay, right. You're not planning for September. Okay.
Or at least I understood there that they had.
Steve, Richie, we're short funding for planning here now, planning for late September. How much do we have in funds available?
While we look into that,
We've
maybe.
got quite a bit left.
So just an idea. One thing we could do is fund to a minimum, and then propose that they come here present, so that we can understand a little bit better what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's not that time sensitive. They're postponed to October, so.
If you want a presentation, we can ask for one.
Yeah. 20,000. Yeah, I mean, we could do that and then see what the town does. Yeah, we didn't realize it was getting pushed to the end.
Seems not time sensitive.
Yeah.
June, September, early October.
So staff directions, you request.
Because I know they did. To me, it's like we're always doing the same things to everybody else. The town did a multicultural event outside in September, so it was all downtown. But it wasn't anything like a $15,000 event. So That's the thing. What are we trying to do? Like everybody's doing the same thing. It's a lot of taxpayers' money to have a multicultural event that the town's going to put on in September, and they're going to put one on in October. Like it's, or is everybody doing it together? Like I think you need a presentation first, and then we can ask those questions.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. The town may say, "No, we're doing our own thing," and then Dow's going to do their own thing. It's not time sensitive. Yeah, we certainly have Stephanie come in. So
We'll reach out to her.
so just need direction. Okay. Yep. Cool. All right.
Well, Linda. Any more? Well,
Oh, I just went down to her office.
oh, maybe so.
So you, Matthew, you understand that this is an event that you organize with the town. So in the way where town, us, and other grant.
It could be. I don't know. It might be.
Yeah.
There was one last year within the town.
Okay.
And if you want to keep going as far as
All right, and next we're going into correspondence. We don't have any correspondence. And the next is council district activity report. So
Start with you.
start with me. Oh, great. All right. So yeah, when I started writing this, it was a busy month. Started with bowling with council and staff, and raised money for the Bowl for Kids' Sake Big Brothers and Big Sisters chapter. I went to NSFM conference in Truro, visited the Victoria Park, learned about the hemlock beetle and how Truro is working to combat the invasive species before it reaches the park. I also visited the new football field being built in the town with the help of the Black Pavilion Brigade. We got to hear about the history of the West Side community of Truro, met with other councillors and in different regions and talked about the challenges that they are facing, and attended other sessions on environment, which was presented by Terry Thibodeau. Then I came back and met with the Energy Minister, Trevor Boudreau, with the Industrial Park Commission and Terry Thibodeau, and we discussed how Digby could be a port of choice for tidal turbine initiatives in the region. We sent him a copy of the Digby Port Authority plans to upgrade the port to handle possible cargo ships. He was very pleased to see the plans of the port and said it was helpful for him to have this information when doing his work. And then Saturday, I was asked to present a plaque in honor of the 100th anniversary of the Digby Auxiliary. It was very well attended. Jackie Dugas, the chair, had a room full of information dating back to the 1930s on who volunteered, inventory that they had bought, the money raised. MLA Jill Balter spoke, as well as MP Christy Entremont and many hospital staff. And then I attended the Brighton Barton Fire Hall AGM. I caught the last few minutes of the meeting as I was here at bylaw. And, but Charlotte and Chief Adam Sabin stayed after to talk about budgets, concerns, and how well the fire hall is doing. They have worked hard to make the fire hall a community hub, and they have upgraded a lot of their safety gear, purchased a boat with diving sonar droid, and to help with search and recovery. And I attended the traffic transportation meeting with the province. It was a brief meeting, letting us know that there will be changes to the Motor Vehicle Act and possible changes to how municipalities deal with new off-road vehicles, such as electric vehicles on sidewalks. We still have not received the PowerPoint presentation that we were promised. You were probably on one of those meetings. So, but it was brief. What were you, 10 minutes? I thought it would be longer. But now, so, a little disappointing. I've been dealing with more issues with garbage. Richie from Waste Check has been very helpful in taking my calls and visiting some sites. Councillor Manzer and I met with the Situate last week with some concerns, and we are helping with that. Also been taking a lot of emails, calls on road maintenance, housing, and concerns about the province's plans to extract new minerals in Nova Scotia. That's a big concern right now,
New minerals, did you say?
like uranium, lithium, and a lot of calls on that. There's a lot of CBC articles on it, and people are concerned, and I agree with them.
I have a lot off Digby Neck.
The province has come out with nothing. There's no consultation. It's not like when we all went as council to Halifax and met with agriculture. We were sat down. We were told, this is the science. This is what we're doing. This is the environmental impact. This is what the safety is. And nothing on this stuff. I'm sitting here trying to learn online. You ask the province, and
But didn't you hear the Premier? We are open for business.
we're open for business. I know, but
That was,
what cost?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whose lane you trample
Exactly.
over.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I've heard through people out in Alberta, it's great. Some of this stuff, there are environmental safeties for it. What happened in Alberta is they're allowed to go on your land and do the test. And if you work a deal out with that company, they're supposed to, this is what I'm hearing, but they're supposed to fix your land up when they're done. But right now, I think the Alberta government's into it for $300-400 million right now because they're not doing that.
Well, they
So
go into
these are the
business.
things we need to know. Like, what's protecting us? The province has stated they're going to allow you to go on your land to get that sample, but after that, they step away. So
yeah, companies are telling people that they have been to visit.
Yeah.
That they can take their,
yeah,
yeah.
A lot of questions. Yeah.
It's awful.
It's gonna
Joan,
be- it's gonna be
sorry.
tricky. It's gonna be tricky.
Yeah. And especially down the bay. That's it.
Yeah.
Joan.
Okay, I've attended all the regular municipal council and committee meetings as scheduled. I'm trying to be as active and visible in the district as I can. I attend the coffee time at Smiths Cove Fire Hall every Thursday morning, and as of June 12th, that will be moving to the museum in Smiths Cove for the summer. They have a summer student there who kind of runs the coffee for them for those summer months. I attend and assist with the Smiths Cove Fire Department breakfast and also attend the Bear River Fire Department breakfast, assisting when needed. I work every Tuesday at the community kitchen in Bear River, and our group at the church provides soup once a month to that venture. I took part in the Annapolis Valley Bowling event for kids. Attended the Bear River Fire Department Awards banquet, and actually they have firefighters ranging in service from a year to 37 years there. So I took the opportunity to chat with some of my constituents, and I also connected with Niles Harding and John from Annapolis, and we're going to schedule a meeting as soon as school is over. Niles drives the school bus, so he's not as available till school ends. I attended the volunteer recognition event in Digby, and we really could do very little if it wasn't for the wonderful volunteers that we do have, and it's nice to see them recognized and appreciated. I attended the NSFM Spring Conference and connected with some of the counselors that I had met before and other new ones, including a person that's involved in the homeless project in Kentville. So we talked about some of the experiences there, and I'm hoping to reconnect with him and maybe have him come here and do a presentation or whatever to us. I attend the monthly event at the Bear River Health Center every month, and this past time it was a talking stick event, so it was a great chance for me to get to know the ones that were present a bit better, but also to share some thoughts and ideas with them. The Digby Area Tourism Board General Meeting was actually in the middle of the month, and I attended that and had a long chat with one of the concerned members following the meeting. I've had a few calls concerning roads and culverts, cows on the road and garbage pickup.
Joe Peter,
And I
you did.
followed up with visits and pictures and continue to try and be as responsive to those concerns as I can be. Some of those concerns were brought forward to the TIR group at our joint meeting. And this week I am going off to Ottawa for the FCM meeting, and they have a rural community stream that I'm hoping to follow up on.
Great. George.
At the end of the last month, right near the end, volunteer recognition ceremony, which was very nice at the Digby Theatre. It's nice to see our volunteers recognized. Things wouldn't get done without them. So we did barbecue for the ATV rally way back in the woods somewhere. The cancer group, the Digby area cancer support group, provided lunch or hot dogs and sausages and stuff like that, hamburgers. And
Did you do the cooking?
yeah.
Sort of guessed that.
And I'm not sure exactly how much they raised, but probably $5,000 to $6,000. They get the registration from the bikers to get them, whatever they get taken for registration, they get to us. And then food. So attended the Maud Lewis play that Hal Terrio had put on at the historical building in Weymouth. Helped set up for the penny sale, which their big fundraiser drive was on to help to get money for their July 1st celebrations. There were some caucus members around like the middle of the month sometime. They come down, they visited the molding plant, and I think they stopped off at the Legion, and then they met at the Siswood Landing. And so I got there at Siswood Landing, talked to them for a few minutes, and then they did a walkabout there and went over to the Mercantile. So I'm not sure what their purpose was. They must have been just going through the area. Because
Well,
the next day, Houston was here in Digby.
yeah, well, they had their annual caucus, or not biannual, whatever, caucus meeting, and it was being hosted by Jill this time.
Yeah.
And when they go to places, they like to go around and actually meet and see what's going on, and see what's being done or what's not being
Because
done.
I seen the news the next day that Houston was in Digby here. I assume they were kind of. I didn't know that they were doing their caucus meeting here. Anyway, it was nice to see some of them, and some of them had been in municipal politics for 15, 18 years, whatever. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Peter?
All right, so for the last month, I think the bigger topic was discussion around taxes. Some residents are looking into organizing to look into how we manage tax money, where it comes from. So it's very timely, actually, that we have this discussion now with this presentation that Corley gave to us. Of course, these are residents in the islands. They have an additional tax that they pay to the village. So I understand that the impact there is higher whenever the time comes to pay the tax. But I think it's a valid concern to come and say, well, okay, there's a portion of these taxes that we pay to the municipality. What are the services that we are funding, and are we getting our fair share back in terms of service? So I think that discussion has a potential to be very constructive if conducted the right way. So I'm trying to find some time with the residents there to sit down with them and have the conversation with them. And I think that this will help a lot. We can show them this is very, very close to the problem. I mentioned last month as well something about a senior resident that was struggling to put an application for a finally managed to get this through. It worked. Not a lot of effort on my part, mostly Don Thomas managed to pull that off. It's a residence, a bit difficult sometimes to deal with. was a very good thing that it worked out. So we're waiting for the results of that. Should be all right. Then we had our Health on the Island call. It's every month. So the main topics were 811, how do you address that, and what are the triggers that they have there to send an ambulance to your house. And also, there was I brought forward some residents that said, well, when I came to the hospital emergency calls, but was not offered the option to do the remote consultation, which is a program that they're running here in this hospital. So they will be investigating to that. We'll have maybe people have something to say about that. I'd be curious. What else? So there was the Coast Guard is establishing a new post there in Freeport. And in the past, that was located in Westport. Now this is moving to a new base in Freeport, which will be bigger and will fit a larger vessel there. So they're looking for a sponsor for this vessel. So it's basically the godfather of the boat, right? The person who christens the boat. So I was there helping them identify who could be the right person, that they would find the right fit there. Gotta see if he accepted that. And finally, there were a couple calls about someone parking in a weird spot there in Flower Cove. There's someone new in the area there who's I don't know if everyone heard about that. Some people I like to check how it works in that case, because it gets parked there for a month now. And people were a bit suspicious of the person, so I went there to try and talk to the guy, but he was not there. So I got to collect more information on this. And last thing was the Municipal Fire Association there. I think the more updates will come in the committee reports. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I actually had a slower month. So I did attend the volunteer night, passed out certificates along with the deputy mayor of the town. I attended the spring workshop at the NSFM, where the opportunity comes to meet with various other municipalities, and I find that that's very helpful, because often our same things are going on, maybe a little different, but it's the same ball of wax. I also attended our regional chairs meeting and pushed relayed our concerns to the environment over some things that are happening with our extended producer's responsibility. I can say that and get the letters right. Also, I attended the NSAPG, which is Nova Scotia Association of Police Governments workshop and AGM. I am back again as being their treasurer. I'll tell you, there's so many hands wanting that job. It's horrendous. I've been there 5 years, and there's never been anyone else step up and say.
Yeah.
But the new chair is Virginia Brook, and she is from Kentville. Our vice chair is Roy Stagg. I want to say Stagway, but I'm probably incorrect. He's from Annapolis Royal, and we do not have a secretary as of yet. So our person, Dorothy Lane Hale, is our acting secretary until we find somebody. The one thing that I did come home to, which was so much fun, was a sick husband with a point. So I went to the TV, and I happened to like Sullivan's Crossing, so I had it taped while I was gone. So I'm watching it.
Don't tell me. I'm not there yet.
Well, you're going to hear this piece anyway. So in comes the Nova Scotia Environmental Inspector. Anyone have any idea who our Nova Scotia inspector was? Environmental
Tim
inspector.
Houston.
It was.
Jeez.
That's the second time I've seen him on the show. First one was the movie with the plane, Christmas plane, and then this one. So I just wanted to say, yes, I did get to see him.
Now we're star.
Yeah. So in his spare time from Premier, he's getting to go into the shows. Apparently, he is a amateur actor. Yeah.
Film industry.
But I'm not telling you what went on. I'm just telling you that I did get to watch that. It was such excitement. I also had a meeting today with a constituent over some concerns, which I'm going to sit down and talk with our CAO, which I have told him that I would do. And I've had a few calls. The calls have been, as I brought up the other day at our TIR meeting, bushes. The roads need their humps and bumps and potholes. And they say on the dirt roads, you're on a washboard. You're hearing it all over the place. But the cutting back of the bushes, people are saying they're so far out in the road that they're afraid they're going to get hit. But if they don't get far enough out, they can't see. And they just don't want to make a run for it and hope for the best. So that is a huge concern. And I will be honest, when I was away, I did not have phone access because I was too cheap to pay $12 American dollars a day for it. And it still roamed. I took Wi-Fi, but that's it. So I'm saying that was my month. So from there, and I want to thank everyone. I am hearing some good things from the public. They are telling me that they appreciate that our council seems to be going forward, that we're not looking behind ourselves, and that we seem to be caring about our municipality. And that's the message I am getting. Not from, and I'm saying I'm getting at different times being stopped. And they're not talking about me, they're talking about our council. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I was also
Nothing about the CAO, not just council.
Can you wait? I have also been told that our staff and the building department, at the front desk in our building department, are outstanding. Very friendly, very efficient, very helpful. So I would like that passed on. And I'm sorry, nothing was said about management of anyone. Okay? The only thing I heard was, why are we hiring somebody else? That's the only thing I heard, and I had to explain why. We were down a person. But no, in all honesty, it's nice to hear that than hearing, oh my gosh, can you get rid of Johnny Poker because he's the worst guy that ever walked the floors? Yeah. So it is good to hear. Now, on saying that, I believe we want to go in camera for 2 personnel matters.
So,
and for personnel, and is there a second?
Second.